Welcome back to Hoovy's. No, that's not it. Welcome back to Hoovy's. Welcome back to Hoovy's.
Car wizard. You look pretty stupid.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. How does he do that stuff? Anyways, let's get on with it. Really sweet Porsche. Let's get started. So I recently posted a picture of this to some of the car groups here in Wichita, and everybody loved the Porsche. I actually had several pictures of the cars in the shop, but they totally ignored all the other cars. They were like, we want to know about the air-cooled Porsche. This one just came in. It's a 1982 Porsche 911 SC with the 3-liter flat 6, and it is in immaculate shape. There's 3 reasons why it's here. One of them's already been solved. We're going to talk about how we solved it, then we'll put it on our 4-post lift and show you guys how 4-post lifts work and take a look underneath. Let's go ahead and start at the front and look around this car. This is the shot that I actually sent out to my buddies and car groups around in the Wichita area, and it won. I mean, it just totally obliterated the other cars in the shop. This is iconic Porsche. When people think of a Porsche 911, they don't think about that's over there on the lift. This is what they think of. The old air-cooled 911. And it is in very, very nice shape. Go ahead and take a look around the side. It has the Carrera on the side. It has the original wheels, the paint. It has very minor flaws, but it's almost immaculate. It's very, very nice. We can see here it was Wichita on Wheels featured car. I don't doubt it. It's very nice. As we come to the back, you can see on the back window it says Flat 6 Club, so that designates this is a Flat 6 engine. That's a common term that's used for these opposed H6 or Flat 6 or Horizontal 6, whatever you want to call it. And it has this beautiful, what they call whale tail. This didn't come on the car stock. This is a kind of an aftermarket edition. It's interesting that even though these didn't come stock with this whale tail on it, the addition of this became iconic so much that this is what they think of when you think of air-cooled 911. You think whale tail. I've talked to several customers in the shop and mentioned an air-cooled 911, and the first thing they ask is, did it have a whale tail? Yes, this one does have a similar to a whale tail. I think the whale tail maybe even be a little bit bigger, but even though this wasn't part of the original design of the car, it has become stuck to this car in people's memories when they think of an air-cooled 911. Let's go ahead and open the rear hatch and take a look. The little hydraulic arms are not holding up the rear hatch, but we'll take a look at, as you can see, the giant fan in the middle. It is an air-cooled 911. These had 2 options. It had a 3.3 liter, and this is the 3 liter. Being this an SC model, you can see here 183 cubic inches displacement, which equates to like 2.9998 liters. But it is in very nice shape. You can see some seepage on the tin work from the upper valve cover. And as we get this on the lift, you'll see even more seepage and more oil leak. And we're going to talk about what we're going to do to solve it. This engine had 201, not 200, but 201 horsepower, about 197 pound-feet of torque. It's not a power monster, but it's a very light, small car, and the handling characteristics is what makes this car shine, not its 0 to 60. Let's go ahead and get this closed. We'll take a look around the rest of the car. And as we come down this side, again, there's really not much to speak of rust or dents or dings. These kinds of customers are bringing these kind of cars more and more because they know it'll stay inside. We're not going to dent their car or scratch their car. We will take very good care of them. So you can see the intake for the HVAC and a nice uncracked windshield. Now you're looking at the sunroof, and that's one of the reasons why it's here. Let's go ahead and get into the interior and talk about it. as nice as this car is, the mileage is 100,500 roughly. That's right, guys, 100,000 miles. But this thing is like new. The dash has some few scratches by the steering wheel there from fingernails scraping it, which is not uncommon. There is some curling right here going on with the dash, but with the miles and the age, I would just leave that alone. It's not worth tearing the whole dash apart for such a small, minor fault. Here we have the iconic Porsche air-cooled dash. We have a Pioneer stereo. There's cigarette lighter, fog lamps, and rear defroster.
Wow, those icons look a lot like your shirt.
Yeah, several icons on my shirt. Here's our glove box with some rags in it. There's our HVAC control panel, and the AC works very well. The customer dropped it off and I brought it in, and it had ice cold AC. Very good to see that. There's our 5-speed shifter, which although it shows some age, again, I would leave that alone. It's part of the character of the car. I would not replace that or have it reupholstered. It's original.
There's a cute little mini version down there.
Yep, I imagine the guy uses it in the car shows. The door panels are amazingly like new, with some ADS speakers, which was a very high-end speaker maker or audio company back in the 80s. And driver's door is just the same. ADS speakers in very good shape. I mentioned before that Porsche seats are some of the most comfortable seats that I've ever sat in. Do you agree, Mrs. Wizard?
Yes, it is quite comfy over here.
Very comfortable. And these are not cracked or damaged. They are also in very good shape. And we see up here as we move up to the headliner, it also has the puffy, iconic air-cooled 911 visors. This seems like everyone I've ever worked on is puffy. No one ever fixes those. It's just part of the charm of the car. I again would leave that alone. Go ahead and put that up. And the headliner is in very good shape. It's not drooping or torn or ripped. And in the back seat, which really, they're not much of seats. They're a bottom and a top. Half of you sits on the carpet. But it works. I guess someone could sit back there of small stature. There's some more ADS speakers in the back parcel shelf. They're very nice speakers. Those are iconic of the era that this car was made. Again, those are something I would leave as part of the car. Why don't you go ahead and try the sunroof, Mrs. Wizard? Right under the gauge there, Mrs. Wizard, is the switch for the sunroof. Pull it toward you. There you go. Opened perfectly. It didn't do that when it came in. The cable for the passenger side of the sunroof was broken, which is a very common air-cooled 911 issue. We've already replaced it. As you can see, it works perfectly. And we'll go ahead and show you how we did that. There we go. Works great. Okay, let me show you back here in the back. If you looked at the headliner previously when we were looking at it, there's actually a zipper back there. Let's take a look.
Okay, Car Wizard, there's no hanky-panky going on back here for sure. I'm all 5'10" of me is not fitting in, so I can't even sit up. I feel like I'm all hunched over.
Yep, I think it's for children or something.
Yeah, I definitely think this seat better not move. But let's get back to filming the zipper.
So right here is a zipper. That is not for a storage compartment. That's to access the components of the sunroof. I'll start unzipping it and I'll hand it over to you, Mrs. Wizard. You can zip it the rest of the way. Unzip it, I guess. And now, through this hole, we can see the sunroof motor. We can see all the components and cables and all the things that make the sunroof work. Well, we're giving you guys an idea of what we did to get to all the components. So we'll go ahead and zip that back. Here we go. That's how you access the sunroof motor and the components inside of there. Now let's take a look at the cable that actually broke. So here's our cable that broke, and this is the part that connects to the actual sunroof. And you can see the cable just snapped, completely broke out of it. Now these cables are not cheap. $200 $250, $300 for a new cable. And then you got the labor to, we actually have to take the sunroof lid off and get inside of there. Quite a lot of labor involved, and it's not so hard, it's just slow going because you definitely don't want to scratch the guy's paint. You don't want to drop the sunroof lid on the ground. It's a very slow process. You take your time on cars like this. You don't get your power tools out and start zipping away. You will damage the car, and that's not what we do here. So we got that taken care of, new cable in, and as you saw, the sunroof works perfectly again. Now let's get this thing on the lift and look underneath. So let me get these set real quick, and as you can see, this thing was very easy to load onto this. I didn't have to squat down and set the arms and mess with all that. You just drive it on and lift it up. I really like these 4-post lifts. These are for safety so that the car doesn't roll off, so let's go ahead and set the back one. All right, I'll go ahead and lift it. So as you can see, it works very similar to a 2-post lift. For those of you who are not familiar with lifts, you raise it up to the position that you want and then you lower it onto the safety locks, which is what we've done. I really wanted to thank Benpack for these 4-post lifts. They're really, really sweet. When you have a job that's going to be not a lot of tear down, you just need to get it on a lift, fix a few things, and get it back out. These are really the ticket. As you can see, these ramps fold down, and they also are as a safety to keep the car from rolling off the back. If you're going to use this for a storage lift like we did behind Mrs. Wizard, you would remove these. As you can see, the ramps are removed from those. We can easily put the rod back through and put the ramps back on when we're ready to remove a car off the lift. You don't want to leave those hanging. Someone will get hurt. So since we got this at the business end facing us, and that's where the leaks are, let's go ahead and take a look. So as you can see here, this is the oil tank and also the hose that feeds the engine. It is seeping through. We're going to be replacing this rubber hose. It's kind of brittle. If I were to push on it really hard, I think it would just snap in two, and that would be dangerous. It would be disastrous for this engine, so we're going to be replacing that. You can see oil's been leaking all over these heat shields, and that's coming from up front area. Let's take a look. As you can see, that's the oil cooler. Oil flows through it and air blows over it to keep the engine cool. And right where it mounts to the block, there's two circular red colored rubber seals, and they are bad. It's leaking oil onto the exhaust. It blows all over the place. So we're definitely going to be taking care of that. And now we're to the lower valve covers. You can see that they are also leaking. There's a drip almost ready to drop off right there. These have 4 valve covers since it's 4 cams. Upper and lower. We're going to be doing all 4 because they're all leaking. There's oil all over the place right now. It's from the oil cooler kind of spraying a little bit, and also from the valve covers. Once we get all this taken care of and cleaned all off, then it will make sense, but we're definitely going to get that taken care of because it's making a mess on the ground and also kind of smoky when the exhaust heats up. We don't want that on a Porsche, a really nice Porsche in fact. Here we have the disc brakes. Back here, everything looks good. The shocks are not blown out. We did notice that the CV boots are not torn, but they're missing their bands. There's nothing wrong with these CV shafts. We're just going to go ahead and put new bands on these and make sure that that is sealed off. We don't want any debris getting in. You can also see on this side that grease is starting to slowly creep out. I don't know why the bands aren't there, but we will be putting them there. And shock looks good there as well. Okay, here's our floor pan as we move forward. Nice aerodynamic pan. And we get to the front. Nice green shocks, they are not blown out. Check for any side play, nothing there. Brakes look good. Go to the other side. Brake pads look good. Nothing loose there, shock's not blown out. One thing I want to show you guys on a 4-post lift is if you need to just work on this one wheel or you want to take this tire off, it's kind of hard because the weight of the car is still sitting on it. But that's where this jack comes in. You just roll it where you need it. It is air powered, and when you hook air to it, you put the pads like you would from any other car on a 2-post lift, and it will lift the front of the car or the rear of the car for you. And BenPack was nice enough to send us that as well. It works very well. But on the particular issues that this car has, we will not be needing to lift it up. Everything's right there. We don't need to worry about the wheels or tires. They're all in good shape, very luckily. You can see our horns up in here. There's a reservoir, some hoses. There is a cooler here. I believe that is the condenser for the AC. Kind of a strange location, but that's where it's at. It faces down with fans blowing down over it. These ACs are not known to be ice cold, but they do work. They do keep it somewhat chilled in the cabin. So those are the oil leaks that are the other reasons why it's here other than the sunroof. So let's go ahead and lower this car down. So on the 2-post lifts, there's a mechanical lever that I would use to release the safety locks. On these 4-post lifts, it's actually air powered. If you listen, you can hear it when I push the button. So that's pretty interesting. That's the way that these 4-posts work. So I'll go ahead and get this thing down. So it seems most fitting as we're ending towards the end of the video. We're at the end of the car, the most iconic part of this car, the whale tail. This customer informed me that it's been to another shop or two and he was not happy with some of the prices. They were way, way high. I think in a lot of shops, when you drive up in a Porsche, they think, $1,000? No, I'm going to turn that 1,000 into 3,000. I'm going to double and triple. I'm going to get this guy for some money. That's not what we did here, and that's not what we do in this shop. We're going to fix the CV boot issue, the oil leaks on the oil cooler, all 4 valve cover gaskets, and the sunroof, and an oil change for $1,700. We called the customer with the price, and he said, that sounds so much better than some of the other prices I've been getting in other places. So we got the job. We're going to get this taken care of. This is such a nice car, it makes sense to go ahead and finish it out and make it that much nicer. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that for the customer. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on these cars, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we appreciate that. And make sure you hit the subscribe button. We got many more cool projects to come. And yes, we're going to work on the boat and the Malibu and everything else. We've just been really swamped in the shop. Seems like every time we get 2 cars done, 4 more show up, which I guess is not a bad problem for a business, but it's a bad problem for projects. So anyways, thanks for watching.